but still good, declared Stitch as an alien emperor, arrested him from the family he had made for himself. The millennial faces were cracked. A generation of young parents that felt lost in this weird limbo of young old. The internet made 13 feel geriatric, which made 33 feel like a ghost requesting for living things like Starbucks orders and 90s playlists. The adults wept at what was, by all means, a child's movie. But that was the magic of Disney and Lilo and Stitch. Live action. Adults are just big kids pretending to be serious. I looked around to see them looking at their kids to witness if they too were crying. Some were, and some were not. Either way, they were not crying for the same reasons. They grieved the potential of Stitch losing his Lilo. We grieved the realization that now, having our own families, we were raised more broken than what we thought. And then he goes, broken but still good, I cried to Josie as I chatted with her about the film. Damn, now I gotta go see it, she wept. I had a real knack for retelling stories with such emotional depth, people felt like they were there. Hashtag Daddy Recovery. I cried. It was like Toy Story 4 or something, I yelped. Not Toy Story 4. I'm done, Josie said right after me. We were on the phone because we were phone friends, which felt like a rare luxury nowadays. I've never been a good texter, in part because I write novels. And I prefer to save my writing novels for Daddy Recovery over trying to figure out brunch plans. We did not have good families. We had good mess. I continued to yelp. I was yelping away. Something about seeing a broken family still love each other and its new recruits broke me. I was highly sensitive because it was official. I had no family. My past was the past, and I had to accept my parents were narcissists. My father was what I called a villain narcissist, obsessed with causing harm and crime while reveling in the secret joy it brought him, but he would have to publicly deny. My mother was a victim narcissist, obsessed with rewriting scenarios where somehow, even in a place as mundane as your local mall, she would end up martyred. My only saving grace from both was that despite my affinity for revenge or being dramatic, I never wanted to stay in that energy. I did want to be happy, but they only wanted to pretend, which made me feel overwhelmed by my realization that my entire life up until now was running on images. We might as well put our life on Getty Images. That is all we were running on. Pictures and pretend. I have a literal picture of me smiling and dancing with my cousin. And no one knows that 15 minutes before that picture, my mother whooped me. Oh, replied Josie. Forgive me for not remembering the lies you swore you never told, she continued. That is what freaked me out. They were running a campaign on us rather than a childhood. My mother hit me as a kid. I never did that. My mother would literally call me stupid. I never did that. My father promised to pay for my school. I never said that. My father begged to stay with us. I never did that. What was wrong with them? How could they not see they were broken? How could they think they could still be good? Maybe we were their Stitch, But in their movie, they handed us to the alien emperor, shipped us off, Josie said. I did not know if she was actually being deep or I was desperate for some grand philosophical epiphany to resolve the pain I couldn't shake. I was fun and funny and compassionate and open, everything they said they wanted from me and said I needed to be for them, and yet I didn't get to keep them. Instead, I just got their broken bits without the good. All right, let's heal. Let's discuss. So I think that I was watching recently this ballerina who's 42, and her mother always told her she couldn't be a ballet dancer. Too tall, too this, too that. And it's something that I could relate to. I'm chasing my dream because I realized nobody wanted me to have it, including the very people that encouraged me to get it. In my family, it's like, oh yeah, you should do singing and acting, but you're really big, and sometimes you're loud, and sometimes you're crazy, like all these criticisms, so that by the time I tried or got enough motivation to take a step forward, I was cut. You know, it's kind of like, well, damn, if so much is wrong with me, I guess I better like rework me. And I found myself always reworking me. And one of the things that I realized is that, you know, I noted, my parents just didn't want me to be rich and famous and successful. And they kind of veiled these irrational criticisms of me. Like saying things, my mother even judged how I chewed. And everything was wrong with me except when I showed up for them, except when I fixed their problems, except when I comforted them after them betraying me. That's when I was a saint. And I didn't realize they were so good at painting their criticisms as, I'm just trying to save you before the world drowns you. I'm just trying to tell you something that you don't know, while raising you to be hyper vigilant over everything that is about me, my moods, my ideas, you know. And that's kind of the tragedy of being raised hyper vigilant. To be hyper vigilant, you can't be self-aware. You have to be so focused on everybody and everything they're doing and everything they're saying. And the lines can feel really blurry between whether somebody loves me, whether somebody hates me, or maybe everybody has an identity and a life and I'm the only idiot that is just on pause like a damn popsicle until somebody decides I'm their flavor. And there was something about that line, broken but still good, that I looked at like everybody, all the adults were crying. Because I think for a lot of people, a lot of millennials that are becoming parents or have become parents, it has been a very triggering experience for them. And not just because it feels like the world is at the end of times, which, you know, but it's also like, we don't want to be our parents. It's almost impossible for us to be our parents. We don't have the same economies at the same age. We don't even have the same opportunities at the same age. It's not the world anymore of like hard work and hustle get you somewhere. Like, no, you could just stay hardworking. And now we're having children. And I think for a lot of my friends, what they have noticed in becoming new parents is how it makes you sad for all that it's painted to be like happy and wonderful. And it could be if you're at a better mental and emotional space. But I think sometimes parenthood is painted as the thing to bring you there. And for some it has. I've seen people becoming a parent with like having oxygen. For some, it was the very thing that made them realize they were breathless. And I think it triggered that line because nobody is perfect. And I think the first person to tell you that is a narcissist. The first person to tell you that is somebody who is going to try to manipulate you into covering and loving their flaws while giving you new ones. And it's kind of like the dream for every family, to be broken but still good, to be imperfect but still loving and fun and working. And I think when I look back at my family, we were just running through mud. And some days it wasn't that muddy, and some days it was really muddy, but we were never walking. We were always like, like trudging. And something about that line, I think, triggered me in the same way that it triggered everybody. That broken but still good. Like, no, we don't have the best economy and the best world and the best history and the best community and the best society. But like, this is my family. This is the family that chose me while the ones that I was born to didn't. And I'm sticking by them and I'm loving them and I'm healing them and I'm trying to make us work. And I choose them, and I choose to be better for them. And a lot of us didn't get that. A lot of us were just told to handle the broken as if it was good, to make the broken look pieced together. And I called Josie because I don't know, I have a real gift for like retelling movies as if you're there. I don't know if you've ever seen Parks and Rec. It's one of my favorite shows. And like, there's a character named Andy who, when he tells the plot of a movie. It's just so vivid. And he's just so in it. And I'm like, that's me. When I'm going to tell you the movie, you're going to know the movie. And I was like crying, and then Josie started crying, and I was like, we're all dying. But it was so, I don't think I'll ever, I don't know. I don't know if there's such a thing as full healing as much as, you know, like, wow, I didn't have parents that loved me. I had parents that sabotaged me and convinced me that was protection. I had parents that judged and criticized me and told me it was for my own good. I had parents that lied to me, that made me feel I didn't have any base of reality, just to tell their friends they were good parents.